Hello everyone, and welcome to a first look at the HMS Hood. Now before we get started, I'd like to point out that this is a work in progress. This ship is not a finished product. It's currently in testing. It's the first version of the ship, and it's highly likely that there will be changes. So how well this ship is currently performing isn't really all that relevant. But people are constantly asking how is the Hood, and people wanna see footage about this ship, so why not make a video about it and have a little look at her. Now she is quite a beauty, and because I've frequently been asked about it, yes, there are rocket launchers. The rocket launchers serve at short-range anti-air, and there is really nothing special about them, they're just short-range anti-air. So, let's have a look at this ship and at this battle. Now, this battle is a standard battle, it's tier 7, so I'm top tier, there is one carrier around, there are very few destroyers, and it's on New Dawn. Now, the Hood has defensive fire, as you probably have noticed, and the anti-air of the Hood isn't very good. With defensive fire, it's okay though. And defensive fire is enough to protect you against equal or lower tier planes. It can get a bit rough to face higher carriers, but it works as self-defense. It works okay, but don't expect to really be a pain carriers. So what's next? Well, the mobility of the Hood is. She is fast, but she has a huge turning circle, slightly larger than Yamato, which means you need to take care where you're going. If there are islands near you, you have to consider that you might not be able to make a turn in front of an island, so there's kind of limits where you can go. This also means you are not a very good brawler, because, well, I mean, the rudder shift is okay, but you can't turn this ship very fast and you'll have trouble dodging torpedoes. Also, your guns turn really slow, so you will have trouble keeping your guns pointed on anything in close quarters combat. So don't go brawling with this ship. And all of this means that you have to think ahead where you are going with your ship. There are no quick turns. If you turn in front of the enemy, you'll have a lot of time to shoot your broadside, and as I said, you need a lot of space to turn this whale around. Now the good news is this ship is very well armored if properly angled, so you are a good tank. Unfortunately, the game doesn't reward tanking a lot, but you are helping out your team, and that is in a way its own reward. Now unfortunately, we had here Atlanta, who was a little bit too aggressive and was already sunk. Now you've also noticed that I have been barely moving since the start of the game, because I need to wait for my reinforcements to arrive. There is a huge enemy blob in front of me, and I really need those ships behind me to catch up with me in order to do something here. Now unfortunately, this is a pretty open position. While there are islands, the islands aren't very high and there isn't really a position I can sit behind. Now with this ship, ideally you'd want to find a good position. You want to sit angled towards the enemy, and then you want to perform as a just massive gun platform. Sit there, take some shots, and yeah, shoot the enemy. Problem is the guns on this ship also aren't that great. There is potential, I assume, but see, the accuracy isn't the best, and with the reload you don't really have a high DPM. I have heard people complain about the penetration. Now, I didn't run into too many trouble that way, but yeah, you will have trouble getting a lot of damage in this ship, I have a feeling. And as you can see here, I'm under fire from a lot of enemies. For a moment there were 8 people aiming at me, so I decided, you know what, it might be time to fall a little bit back and let some of the ships behind me take the heat. Now, as you can see, I'm currently turning this ship and it isn't turning by a lot. You can also see while I'm under fire from a lot of enemies, I haven't taken that much damage yet. But the fires start coming in and there is... My biggest problem is that there is no easy way for this ship to retreat, right? You can see the amount of time it takes me to turn around, which means I have to start early. And there is a Miyoko showing me broadside. And we can see what happens to broadside in cruises. Yeah, I think. Now I'm also not able to dodge all of those torpedoes, and the torpedo did quite a bit of damage. This ship doesn't have an awful lot of torpedo protection. And I'm currently keeping an eye out of... Because... This ship has such a hard time turning. I had to make sure that I'm not running into my allies. And hey, there is another cruiser who is showing broadside, but... Yeah, dispersion isn't with me in this one. So let's try this again. And there is a nice little citadel. But, you know, this ship also doesn't have the greatest of concealment, so yes, retreating in this ship can be a bit of a problem. Now, the Hood is very fast, but with such poor maneuverability, you have to think ahead. And you can't just drop into stealth, because, I mean, the captain I'm currently using on this ship has concealment expert, but still, there is no way for me to drop into concealment currently unless islands start blocking vision, and it looks like they are. So, my health is pretty low, but I'm still floating, and I took quite a beating. You will see at the end of the game I took a lot of potential damage in this game. But let's talk a little bit more about the Hood. So, considering her guns, your range is also limited with 17.6 kilometers, and there is no way to increase that. But that's okay. I mean, sure, sometimes, especially in higher tier battles, you might be forced into a position where it would be nice to engage at 20 kilometers, but you aren't that far off, and you wanna engage at medium ranges. Like 10 to 15 kilometers, I'd say, is where you wanna be. If you have a ship that prevents you from sniping 20 kilometers away, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because it's not usually what you want anyway. Now here in this battle, and I just took another big hit, but I still have 3 heals remaining. If you are at low health, you wanna get a bit out of the fight, find some time to heal up, and hopefully let somebody else tank for a bit. Now, another problem is the enemy is split up, so they might get flanking shots. Currently, I'm having trouble angling against the Fuso and the 2 Germans. So I'm mostly just retreating here. And I'm waiting for a good way to turn back in. Also for this heal to come back online. And I'm in concealment currently, so I might just wait until I get closer to this heal. I'm not having great shots anyway. Might pay off to shoot high explosive at the Fuso currently. Probably be a better choice, because yeah. I'm just not having very good angles. But yeah, the gun performance generally of this ship is a bit lacking. And that's actually where I think this ship could use some help. So you could, for example, reduce the reload time, or you could increase the accuracy. You need to find, I think you need to find some way to increase the damage output of this ship. Otherwise, it's okay. I mean, the maneuverability is a big downside, but it's okay for a ship to have a downside, right? You can't be great at everything. And this ship is massive. This ship is a great tank. And it is spotted from very far away, so make her a great tank, make her also a great gun platform. She's a ship that might want to sit in the front, take a beating, and threaten everything that comes close. Now this ship is already a bad brawler, and it won't be a great brawler anyway, because it's just... Yeah, I mean, the guns turn too slowly, and the ship turns too slowly, and there isn't the torpedo protection, and also those guns aren't so great at dealing with destroyers because, yeah, you don't have the DPM. Take them down fast. Your secondaries have a decent range of 5 kilometers, but you don't have an awful lot of them, and you shouldn't expect an awful lot of your secondaries. And now I really want to take care of this Cleveland. The Cleveland is a weak target. Now the battleships down here in the south, they did me a favor because they went behind an island. And this gives me, well, it looks like they were able to lob some shells, but those battleships just gave me an opportunity to turn this way without showing them broadside. Somebody else took care of the Cleveland. Unfortunately, I only got over penetrations. So now it's the Fuso and those battleships left. It would be ideal if we can corner and take care of the Fuso and then the Germans. And there might be an airstrike here on the way. The long-range anti-air guns have 5 kilometer range on this ship. So they just came into my range of fire, so I popped my defensive fire. Unfortunately, those plates aren't coming closer to me. I'm slowing down here, but I'm a bit too far away to provide air support. Well, anti-air support. So our carrier is sending his torpedo bombers to deal with the Fuso, and I hope I can take care of her. If the Fuso is gone, I can finally turn around and can face those Germans. I still have 1 heal remaining, and those are still somewhat healthy battleships. But we have the numbers on them, and our carrier might be able to do a lot if we keep them occupied for a while. Now, I haven't done an awful lot of damage to those battleships, but neither did they to me. And there is finally a drop coming at the Fuso. Our carrier played very good in this battle, by the way. And I think he is finishing off the Fuso right now, so that's great news for me. Now I can turn around, I'm currently not even detected, and I can go back and face those battleships. Now the enemy still has a carrier around as well, but I might have defensive fire again. Here comes a strike. I mean, the enemy carrier isn't very close to us, so it should take him a while to send planes back my way. But we found the enemy carrier, and that means maybe our carrier is able to get a strike in. Now, personally, I'm more focusing on those battleships. We have a Pensacola coming this way as well, so there's additional anti-air support. And maybe we can finally take care of those battleships. And I'm giving a little bit too much lead. But yes, overall the Hood is okay. I mean, she's a bit underperforming. She can use a little bit of help. Currently she is a great tank, but she isn't all that threatening, and I think that has to change. And as I said earlier, you need some way to up the gun performance of this ship. Now, I'm not saying that there is a particular route that they have to go. I mean, they could just simply go for the reload, they could go for accuracy, they could buff all just this little bit, and it doesn't need that much of a buff, but the ship needs a little bit more. And once more, I really should be switching to high explosive. Those German battleships are well armored and they are anchored, and I'm not doing an awful lot against them. But as you see, neither are they doing an awful lot against me currently. Now my next problem is those two battleships are great brawlers and I'm not, and they have torpedoes. Now for whatever reason they aren't really charging me yet. I mean, they've spent an awful lot of time just sailing along the zone wall so far, which is good for us. If they'd played more aggressive, we've probably lost this. But currently it's looking quite okay. Also shout out to the Fuso who is sticking with me here and doing a great job. The Bayern that was with us is for some reason running further to the north. At this point we really should stick around. And Pensacola got the enemy carrier, so also great job, and he's now capping. So if we can buy our Pensacola some time, we will win. Or we could just sink the enemy ships here. So I'm moving forward to engage. The Fuso is also rather low on health, and at this point I'd rather have the enemies shoot me than our Fuso, because I'm more tanky than he is. And he's probably better at dealing damage than I am, so I wanna get the Fuso in a position where he can deal damage, and I wanna tank some shots. Now, the enemies are splitting up, which once again makes it a bit harder to angle against all of them. Our carrier got a great drop on the Gneiser now, softening her up. And I'm in the magical 6 kilometers of the Scharnhorst, so expecting him to launch torpedoes. Now, once again, this ship has trouble dodging torpedoes, and the way the Scharnhorst is turning, I assume he's maybe used one launcher and now he's turning to use the other. On the bright side, the Scharnhorst is probably going to show me some broadside. He should really just keep facing me, but if he wants to, I'm happy to oblige. And the Gneiser now is probably launching torpedoes as well. Now I have 2 broadside targets to shoot at, and I'm easily dodging those torpedoes, and I'm currently turning into those. I don't care. I wanna fire my rear guns and sink this Scharnhorst. I mean, I'm pretty low already. The Gneiser now goes down regardless. I have no trouble eating this torpedo and sinking because the game is won and I don't care if my ship survives. So, this is a win. Let's take a look at the results. I did alright in this battle, could have done better. Shout out to the Hiryu, the Fuso and the Pensacola. They played this very well and they were certainly very important in winning this battle. So I did 90,000 points of damage. That's not amazing, but it's alright. I spent a lot of time just eating shells and trying to stay alive. And yeah, the Hood is very good at that. And now here we are with, I think, the most interesting screen of this battle. I took 3.2 million potential damage and I only sunk in the last seconds because I didn't care anymore. And yeah, that's really where the Hood's strength is. That's where she shines. She is a tank. And every damage you take, your team doesn't take. If you can soak up that amount of damage and stay alive, if you can go through all your heals, that's really benefiting the team. And while it does give you a little bit of experience, it doesn't give you an awful lot. It's a support function that's not rewarded all that much. I mean, it's rewarded by winning more often, but you won't see it in the score screen. I also, well, did a bit of spotting damage right there. I don't know when exactly that happened, but yeah, it's amusing. But anyway, I think the Hood is okay. I think the Hood has potential. She needs a little bit of love concerning her guns, and then she might be a very nice ship. So I'll be keeping an eye on her, and I'm looking forward to what Wargaming plans to do with her. And I'll see you guys next time.